I was about to spar. Before I was about to spar Tank, he was sparring this big boy.
A heavyweight.
Heavyweight boy. And Tank hit that nigga. He hit him so hard that he was on the top of the rope just like this.
Oh!
The speed, Gervonta tankdavis, if he put on the right weight, put the right weight on, and, have the lean muscle right, he can look fantastic somewhere in the mid-150s, dare I say, close to 160 against Jake Paul.
In newly surfaced training footage, Gervonta Davis sends shockwaves through the boxing world after reportedly flooring a heavyweight sparring partner during preparations for his upcoming battle with Jake Paul. The clip captures Davis's trademark: explosiveness, a lightning quick left hand delivered with surgical timing that ends the session instantly. Fans online are calling it undeniable proof that Tank still carries that lethal mix of speed, precision, and raw force capable of overwhelming even men far larger than himself. Showbiz. The adult predicts Gervonta Davis will weigh in around 154 pounds for the Jake Paul showdown. Brushing aside claims that Tank will be undersized, he points out that Davis has long walked around near that number and has even trained at 160, making this jump nothing new. According to him, Tank spent years sharing the ring with bigger sparring partners, sharpening his counterpunching instincts, timing, and reflexes against heavier hitters. That experience, coupled with his explosive power and boxing intelligence, gives him the upper hand. Showbiz confidently states that Jake's physical advantage won't save him once Davis lands clean, boldly predicting a knockout victory for Tank with ease.
50s, dare I say, close to 160 against Jake Paul. And dare I say it, I think that's the right thing for him to do. Why? I've been saying this. Number one, fighters need to start fighting closer to their walk-around weight. They're just healthier that way. They're just better and healthier that way. I mean, I know it's probably surprising them too. Like, that was the best I've seen Terrence Bud Crawford. Lamont Roach, he's fighting Pitbull at 140, coming from 130 and a pit stop at 135. You have Shakur Stevenson talking about fighting Teofimo Lopez. They're very close to making that fight at 140. And I think all of them would look their best there, especially Roach, where he ain't knocking nobody out down there at 130. But I bet you he'll be swatting far more at 140. Gervonta Tank Davis, I think, just like the others, fighting closer to your walk-around weight is just going to be one of the better performances for Gervonta Tank Davis. He's going to learn a lot about his body. He's going to learn a lot about himself and where he should campaign moving forward. Maybe even meeting Roach in that rematch at 140 himself. Also, another reason why I think it behooves him to come in knocking at 160 pounds is because of Jake Paul. It's not like Tank is going to dodge every punch Jake Paul throws, all right? Some of those going to land, and more than likely it's going to land on his guard. Tank is going to have his guard up. We need for him to be solid enough, his foundation and his base solid enough, so when Jake Paul hits him with those shots, he doesn't go flying around the ring.
Reports confirm that Davis has been trading punches with larger sparring partners to fine-tune his rhythm for the Jake Paul fight, a strategy that's nothing out of the ordinary for him. Since the earliest days of his career, Tank has tested himself against heavier fighters, using those encounters to perfect his accuracy and control. With his devastating strength and razor-sharp ring IQ, handling size disadvantages has never posed a problem for him. Recent training clips reveal a version of Gervonta Davis who looks sharper, leaner, and more focused than ever. Every punch he throws seems to fuse precision with fury, a result of years of relentless discipline. His footwork glides across the canvas, yet every movement radiates command. Observers note the calculated rhythm behind each strike, the determination in his eyes, and the seamless blend of speed and power. The footage alone speaks volumes about his mindset. Analysts everywhere agree this is the best condition Davis has shown in years. His combination of timing, strength, and composure during camp has reignited talk of just how dangerous he still is at the elite level. One of the biggest debates heading into this bout centers on size. Many believe Jake Paul's natural frame gives him the edge, while others argue that Davis's mastery inside the ring cancels out any physical gap. Fans question whether the weight difference will matter, but those who followed Tank's journey know he's no stranger to bigger opponents. Supporters remind critics that boxing is won through timing, discipline, and technical intelligence, not just muscle. With his slippery defense and deadly counters, Davis remains a puzzle for any opponent, regardless of stature. His team trusts that his experience under pressure will allow him to use Jake's size against him. For Tank, this isn't about proving power. It's about proving skill.
It is happening. WBA lightweight champion Gervonta Davis, who's unbeaten in 31 professional contests, takes on the self-proclaimed problem child, Jake Paul, one of the most influential and marketable global personalities. Paul and Davis square off in Miami after doubts around the fight being sanctioned in Georgia triggered a change in venue. Neither fighter can weigh more than 195 pounds. The weight is perhaps the most surprising factor. Paul has boxed most of his career around 200 pounds, the cruiserweight limit, but did tip the scales at 227 pounds when he faced off against Iron Mike Tyson last year. Davis, much smaller in stature, competes at the 135 pound mark and has also won world honours at super featherweight.
And despite some discussions about possibly dropping down to 10 ounces, the pair seem set to wear 12-ounce gloves.
And in terms of distance, despite the exhibition tag, the fight will play out over 10 3-minute rounds with 3 scoring judges at ringside, but the result will not be officially recorded on...
Lamont Roach has recently voiced frustration toward Davis, hinting at lingering tension between them. His remarks stirred buzz among fans who detected envy behind his tone. Many believe the bitterness comes not from real conflict, but from resentment toward Tank's success and financial rise. The two once shared mutual respect, but now Roach's words seem tinged with jealousy. Observers note how hard it can be for others to watch Davis dominate headlines and earn massive purses while they remain in the shadows. In boxing, money and fame often turn rivalries emotional, but Davis stays composed, letting his silence and work ethic speak louder than any words.
Rip, the question is direct. Reportedly, Tank's gonna make $40 million around there to fight Jake Paul. Would you do the same thing if you were in the situation? And he's like, actually, this is what I explained before. You're beating around the bush. It's really a yes or no. I would do it. I would take the 40 mil, or I wouldn't take the 40 mil. But let's listen to this long, drawn-out explanation.
There's about $40 million that he's going to get paid. If you were in his shoes, wouldn't you do the same thing?
See, now, this is something that I explain and express, and I hope everybody gets. That opportunity is an opportunity that you probably cannot pass up. But it's about how you handle it. It's about how you go about it. A lot of people don't know that he actually exercised his rights to the rematch, so that contractually binds us to a fight. You cannot breach that unless you do what you have to do to handle the business, to be like, okay, well, we mutually agree to let you move on and or swindle around and fight Jake Paul for this money. If you think I'm going to sit back by the wayside and sit there and be like, well, even though I'm contracted to fight this guy for this amount of money on this certain day, I'm just going to sit here and be cool with, oh, he might not ever fight me, and he's going to go fight and get paid and get this money, and I'm not supposed to get anything?
Analysts often argue that Gervonta Davis doesn't receive the recognition he deserves. They point out how his opponents gain fame after sharing the ring with him, proof of the influence he carries. Fighters who were once unknown suddenly become household names simply because they faced Tank. This consistent pattern underlines his star power and his ability to elevate others. Critics who claim he avoids strong competition forget that just fighting him can define a career. Experts note that Davis isn't only a knockout artist, he's the kind of fighter whose presence alone commands the entire spotlight.
Ongoing discussion in the boxing world about Gervonta Davis and Gervonta Davis, his resume, who he's going to fight, the competitors that he's going to fight. And every once in a while, something happens that proves that Gervonta Davis is the face of that. If he's not the face of boxing because people just don't want him to be that, man, he is real close to it, because other than Canelo Alvarez, and even consider Canelo Alvarez included, nobody in boxing has divisions circulating around him like Gervonta Davis does. And that was proved during this Lamont Roach versus Pitbull Cruz announcement for their pay-per-view. Just think about this. Gervonta Davis, they always say that Gervonta Davis has a poor resume, but yet Gervonta Davis, guys that fight Gervonta Davis, lose to Gervonta Davis, or get a draw to Gervonta Davis, can fight one another and make an anticipated pay-per-view between the two of them, because that fight with Pitbull Cruz is a very, very popular fighter with Mexican fight fans. Lamont Roach got a lot of name exposure with black fight fans and Mexican fight fans and white fight fans, all with his draw that he got against Gervonta Davis. Now they believe that this is going to be able to be a profitable endeavor for a pay-per-view. Now let me also tell you that Rolly Romero, who was somebody else that Gervonta Davis fought in the past, will be on a pay-per-view that's going to be successful, most likely, when he defends his WBC
boxer. Stephen Fulton stepped forward to defend Davis from critics accusing him of chasing money. Fulton reminded fans that every fighter has the right to secure their future after years of punishing battles. He emphasized that Tank has already proven his greatness: world titles, unforgettable performances, and global respect. So if he now chooses high-profile bouts, it's a well-earned balance between legacy and livelihood. Fulton's words resonated across the boxing world, reinforcing that Davis's choices come not from greed, but from maturity and self-preservation.
Body in that position would have taken that fight, especially with the payout. It's like, that's a no-brainer, but I understand. I still feel for Lamont. That's my boy. Like, he still want his rematch. But then when you be realistic about the money situation, you're changing your whole family life. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's people hate on it because they're not in that position. I'm not saying Lamont. I'm speaking like other boxers. Be like, oh, he this for that. He's this. It's a side quest. It's a little side quest. Because what happened when Floyd and all these guys went on WWE, but then they get right back to what they're doing? You know what I'm saying? So it's just like it's another little side quest. I'm all for people just getting their money. So get the best, make the most that you can out of this entertainment world. Cause, I mean, I don't know. I would have done it as far as the money aspect, cause none of us would deny that money. They talking like they would, none of them would deny that money.
Commentator Luke Thomas offered a different perspective. While praising Davis's unmatched precision and knockout power, he noticed a shift in Tank's demeanor this time. During interviews and appearances, Davis seemed unusually calm, almost detached. Thomas wondered if the fight excited him less as a competitive test and more as a business move. Perhaps, he suggested, the attention surrounding Jake Paul intrigued Davis more than the challenge itself. Still, Thomas admitted that even a less motivated Tank remains a terrifying opponent. His natural talent, experience, and instincts make him dangerous under any circumstance.
So in that sense, it's a little bit different. It's not different in the sense of a boxer in his prime or relative prime straying off the path, but this one is not. It's not like someone else, in a similar weight. It's like completely the opposite, and so that makes it, I think, look and feel weird. And then on top of it, obviously, Gervonta's got other business to handle. He looked to me, Gervonta, absolutely, completely disinterested. Even at the beginning of this year, and dude, even at the pre-fight Lamont Roach stuff, Tank was talking about how much time he has left in boxing, and he was sort of wasn't much. I mean, the Lamont Roach fight, I mean, it blew up in his face, but Lamont Roach was cherry-picked. You know, I think Tank thought, oh, I'll just fight another guy from, you know, the Mid-Atlantic area who's, you know, remember Roach came up from 30 to 35 to fight him, and Tank thought he was just going to cruise, and then it blew up in his face, and, you know, you're left with that. So, like, you're making a point about, like, oh, he's got this obligation. That's true, but he was already fucking around. He was already taking opponents that, again, I think Roach showed everyone that was a mistake, but put yourself in Tank's mind. Tank was taking a fight against someone he was clearly, in his mind anyway, better than, and was just going to cruise. So he was already in that state. Then you marry that with statements like, you know, I don't know how much longer I'm going to be doing this, and blah, blah, blah. And, you know, I'm worried about going to therapy because it'll take away my competitive edge.
Though some call this bout a financial spectacle, others view it as a statement from Gervonta Davis. He isn't stepping into the ring just for fame. He's stepping in to prove that true fighters can dominate any arena, whether it's the ring or the digital stage. Victory here would not only strengthen his legacy, but remind the world that skill and dedication still outweigh social media hype. Davis knows both purists and casual fans will be watching, and he sees this as a chance to restore respect for authentic competition. A decisive win would send a message. Real talent still outshines manufactured fame.
In this particular in the press conference, and you can just look at him and tell, like, no, this dude he's gonna get this money for sure, because there's so much money out there to be had. But Jake Paul better be not playing around, man. Not get cute, not play any games, don't hit him in the back of the head, don't rabbit punch him, don't do any of that stuff, man, because Mike Tyson, first of all, a lot of people think Mike Tyson was pulling punches on Jake Paul, and a lot of people think that Anderson Silva was pulling punches on him too. You're not going to have a little Gervonta out there pulling punches on you, man, if you're out there playing games. So, you know, I don't like the fight at all. However, as far as it being an entertaining situation, I almost guarantee you that fight itself is going to be entertaining. That it's going to be something that you look at and you're going to say, man, everybody's going to watch it. Everybody's going to want to know what happens in it. But at the same time, it's kind of like what people think, you know, when you see a car crash, like you're driving down the road and all of a sudden the traffic gets heavy and you're like, man, I'm going to be in traffic for a long time. And then you drive forward a little bit and then you see, oh man, this is some accident on the other side of the road, and everybody just slowing down to watch. That's the type of entertainment that you can expect from this fight between Gervonta Davis and Jake Paul. There's going to be a lot of people watching it, but I gotta say, man, you really can't blame the guy on what he's doing. And there's a lot of criticism flying on Gervonta Davis. It's not Gervonta Davis's fault that boxing took this turn.
Charleston White, never shy with opinions, made his stance on Jake Paul crystal clear. To him, Jake's career thrives more on entertainment than sport. White insists that once Jake stands across from Gervonta Davis, the gap between a trained world-class fighter and an influencer will become painfully obvious. Tank's years of battling elite opponents, his lightning reflexes, and perfect timing will expose the limits of Jake's boxing depth. Fame, White argues, can't replace experience. Real champions are forged in brutal competition, not in exhibition bouts or viral clips. His blunt words echo the thoughts of countless fans who believe Davis operates on a level Jake has never reached.
Davis and Jake Paul fight and Jake Paul have had to date really have been a real thing, and that the boxing world is looking for that great WHITE hype, and Jake Paul is going to be that guy, even though he really can't do it in a real boxing match. So he was basically reflecting and saying that he, you know, the saying where they say, believe half of what you hear, half of what you see, and none of what you hear. He adjusted it to say, don't believe anything you hear and anything you say, anything that you hear and anything that you see. And honestly, man, when it comes to internet boxing, YouTube boxing, and what people say is going on in the media, without a doubt, I think Charleston White is 100% right about that. Don't believe anything you hear. Don't believe anything you see. Wait to see how things play out, and ultimately everything will come out in the wash. Well, going into this fight with Gervonta Davis, I had my concerns about the fight because of the same type of reasoning that Charleston White used, except for mine is slightly different. I don't think that either one of these guys are going to try to do too much damage to each other. Number one, because if it's scripted, which more than likely to an extent it will be, Gervonta Davis is not going to put himself in a situation where Jake Paul is going to actually be able to hurt him.
And when that moment finally comes, the truth will be impossible to ignore. That wraps up today's coverage. Stay tuned for more. Until next time.